NFPA 72 requires smoke detectors in egress stairwells of all occupancies, including private high schools. Specifically, Section 7.6.1.21 subsection 1 requires smoke detectors at the top and bottom of enclosed egress stairways. The Massachusetts Building Code classifies buildings as either high-rise or non-high-rise. High-rise buildings are required to have smoke detectors in all areas, while non-high-rise buildings may not be explicitly required to have them throughout. However, the code requires compliance with NFPA 72 for fire alarm systems. Therefore, even though the Massachusetts Building Code might not explicitly require smoke detectors in non-high-rise private schools throughout, NFPA 72 does mandate them in specific areas. Based on the requirements of both the Massachusetts Building Code, particularly in its reference to NFPA 72 and NFPA 72 itself, smoke detectors are required in all enclosed egress stairwells of private high schools in Massachusetts, regardless of whether the building is classified as high-rise or non-high-rise. While it may not be explicitly stated in the Massachusetts Building Code that smoke detectors are required in non-high-rise private schools throughout all areas, installing them in accordance with NFPA 72 is highly recommended. Smoke detectors are a critical component of a fire alarm system and can help to save lives in the event of a fire. The purpose of a smoke detector is to sense smoke, which is an early indicator of fire. Upon detection of smoke, the detector sounds an alarm alerting occupants to the potential danger. This early warning allows for prompt evacuation and reduces the risk of injury or death. In stairwells, smoke detectors are particularly important because stairwells serve as primary escape routes during a fire. Smoke and heat tend to rise, making stairwells potential pathways for the spread of fire and smoke. By installing smoke detectors at the top and bottom of stairwells, occupants are alerted to the presence of smoke before it becomes a significant hazard, improving their chances of a safe escape. NFPA 72 provides comprehensive standards for the application, installation, location, performance, inspection, testing, and maintenance of fire alarm systems, including smoke detectors. Adhering to NFPA 72 ensures that fire alarm systems are designed, installed, and maintained in a manner that maximizes their effectiveness in protecting life and property. Within NFPA 72, specific requirements outline the placement and spacing of smoke detectors. These requirements take into account factors such as ceiling height, room size, and potential obstructions. Properly positioning smoke detectors is crucial for ensuring their ability to detect smoke quickly and reliably. The Massachusetts Building Code references and adopts NFPA 72 as a recognized standard for fire alarm systems. This means that compliance with NFPA 72 is a legal requirement in Massachusetts, even if the Massachusetts Building Code does not explicitly detail all of the same requirements. When interpreting building codes and standards, it is essential to consider the intent and purpose behind them. The primary goal of building codes and fire safety standards is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of building occupants. Installing smoke detectors in accordance with NFPA 72 aligns with this goal by providing early warning of fire and enhancing the safety of stairwells. If there is any ambiguity or conflict between different codes or standards, it is generally advisable to adopt the more stringent requirement. In this case, even if the Massachusetts Building Code seems less explicit than NFPA 72 regarding smoke detectors in non-high-rise schools, following NFPA 72 ensures a higher level of fire safety. Fire safety is not an area where one should seek the bare minimum requirements. Investing in robust fire protection measures, such as comprehensive smoke detection systems, demonstrates a commitment to the safety of students, staff, and visitors. Regularly inspect and test smoke detectors to ensure they are functioning properly. Replace batteries as needed and address any maintenance issues promptly. In addition to smoke detectors, consider other fire safety measures such as fire extinguishers, fire sprinklers, and emergency evacuation plans. A comprehensive approach to fire safety is the most effective way to protect lives and property. Conduct regular fire drills to familiarize occupants with evacuation procedures. This will help them respond quickly and safely in the event of a fire. It is important to document all fire safety measures, including the installation, inspection, testing, and maintenance of smoke detectors. This documentation can be useful for demonstrating compliance with codes and standards and for tracking the performance of the fire alarm system. Stay informed about changes to building codes and fire safety standards. Codes and standards are updated periodically to reflect new knowledge and technologies. Consulting with a qualified fire protection engineer or fire marshal can help ensure that your fire safety measures are up to date and compliant. These professionals can provide expert guidance on the design, installation, and maintenance of fire alarm systems. The principles of smoke detection rely on understanding how smoke behaves in a fire scenario. Smoke is composed of small particles produced by combustion. These particles rise due to their buoyancy, which is caused by the heat of the fire. As smoke rises, it spreads horizontally, filling the available space. Smoke detectors are designed to sense these smoke particles using various technologies. There are two main types of smoke detectors: ionization smoke detectors and photoelectric smoke detectors. Ionization smoke detectors use a small amount of radioactive material to create an ionized air chamber. When smoke particles enter the chamber, they disrupt the ionization process, causing a change in the electrical current. This change triggers the alarm. Photoelectric smoke detectors use a light source and a light sensor. In a clear air condition, the light beam from the light source does not reach the light sensor. However, when smoke particles enter the chamber, they scatter the light, causing some of it to reach the light sensor. This triggers the alarm. Both types of smoke detectors are effective at detecting smoke, but they may respond differently to different types of fires. Ionization smoke detectors tend to be more responsive to flaming fires, while photoelectric smoke detectors tend to be more responsive to smoldering fires. Some smoke detectors combine both ionization and photoelectric sensors to provide comprehensive smoke detection. These dual sensor smoke detectors are often considered the most effective type. The placement of smoke detectors is critical for ensuring their effectiveness. Smoke detectors should be installed on every level of a building, including basements. They should also be installed inside and outside of sleeping areas. In stairwells, smoke detectors should be installed at the top and bottom to detect smoke rising from any level. Smoke detectors should be mounted on the ceiling or high on a wall. Ceiling mounting is generally preferred because smoke tends to rise. If wall mounting is necessary, the detector should be placed within 12 inches of the ceiling. Smoke detectors should be located away from air vents and ducts. Air currents can interfere with the detector's ability to sense smoke. Smoke detectors should be tested regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Most smoke detectors have a test button that can be pressed to simulate the presence of smoke. The alarm should sound loudly and clearly when the test button is pressed. Smoke detector batteries should be replaced at least once a year, or more frequently if the detector chirps to indicate a low battery. It is a good practice to replace batteries when changing clocks for daylight saving time. Smoke detectors have a limited lifespan and should be replaced every 10 years, or as recommended by the manufacturer. Over time, the sensors in smoke detectors can become less sensitive, reducing their effectiveness. Consider interconnected smoke detectors. When one detector senses smoke, all of the interconnected detectors will sound an alarm. This can provide an earlier warning, especially in larger buildings. Wireless interconnected smoke detectors are available, making installation easier. Addressable fire alarm systems provide detailed information about the location of a fire. Each smoke detector has a unique address, and the fire alarm control panel can display the specific detector that has been activated. This can help firefighters respond more quickly and efficiently. Regularly inspect smoke detectors for signs of damage or tampering. Clean smoke detectors regularly to remove dust and debris. Dust and debris can interfere with the detector's ability to sense smoke. Use a vacuum cleaner with a brush attachment to gently clean the detector. Never paint smoke detectors. Paint can block the vents and prevent smoke from entering the detector. Educate occupants about fire safety. Teach them how to recognize the sound of the smoke alarm and how to evacuate the building safely. Post-emergency evacuation plans in prominent locations. Conduct fire drills regularly to practice evacuation procedures. Ensure that all occupants know the location of fire extinguishers and how to use them. Emphasize the importance of reporting fires promptly. Call the fire department immediately, even if the fire appears small. A small fire can quickly spread and become a large fire. Never disable smoke detectors. Disabling smoke detectors can have deadly consequences. If a smoke detector is causing nuisance alarms, try relocating it to a different location or replacing it with a different type of detector. If you have any questions or concerns about fire safety, consult with a qualified fire protection professional. They can provide expert advice and guidance on all aspects of fire safety. Remember, fire safety is everyone's responsibility. By taking proactive steps to protect your school from fire, you can help to save lives.